Okay. All right. So the Five of Pentacles underlying the reading is that some of you are just feeling lack, feeling maybe left out. I think some of you may have had this is something you're already going to know about, had a relationship end or something, a situation end that you had put a lot of thought and like your heart into, and it sucks. You're just feeling alone and shut out and lacking. I don't usually read this card this way, but it's almost like that, that I was raised Catholic, and I went to Catholic school actually for 12 years. And then we had nuns that ran the elementary school I went to, and they, when they pledged their life to God, they give up, a lot of possessions, things, and they make a huge sacrifice. They completely 100% dedicate themselves to helping others and to God, which is pretty amazing. You know what I mean? And I almost feel like that's sort of the energy. It's like having, so it's just sort of an interesting energy, because as I usually read this card as feeling a lack, it could also be that maybe it's almost like maybe you're sacrificing too much. Like you don't quite have to go to that extreme. Pentacles are very tangible, practical, house, home, money, cards like that, but they do have a spiritual aspect to them as well. And it's sort of like the balance of not being too materialistic, but you know what? It's okay to have some things and enjoy some things as well. It's finding a balance. So I feel like I'm feeling that you're maybe a little out of balance coming into the month. Can you hear it humming? Right smack in the middle, you have the Ten of Swords. It's kind of like you're just done with something. You're done. You've put so much thought and time and energy and frustration and worry and every other single, you're just mentally exhausted. And I think when you're mentally exhausted, this Five of Pentacles, you can feel really spiritually depleted. But this isn't a great card, but it's kind of like it's rock bottom. It's over. It's done. You have beaten that horse to death and then some. And I hate that saying, but it's just like there's just nothing. It's done. It's over. And there's been grieving and loss on some level. Now remember, the thing when you're watching these tarot readings, you're like, oh my God, this is horrible. It's going to be some giant thing. Well, no, not necessarily. These do not have to be huge. This can just be one even tiny part of your life. But what this is showing me, though, especially with the Death card at the end, is that it's still going to have a profound effect on how you move forward from here. Okay, even though it's like you've learned some significant spiritual lesson out of this situation. So sometimes it's good to go back and watch these videos sort of at the end of the month and look for how it may have played out in your life. These are general readings. They're not necessarily going to resonate with everyone, but you can sort of say, oh, that was just that situation with that one person that I was dealing with when I was trying to buy the new flooring for my house. It can be much more mundane than you think about it. But when you realize that you just have to, that maybe you got screwed over a little bit, maybe that's where the Five of Pentacles, they put the floor in wrong and they're like, tough shit. You're just going to have to eat it because somehow they finagled it. It was your fault because, I don't know. you didn't have your air conditioning running and it was too moist in the house and it jacked up the floor, the wood floor. So, something like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be some huge, someone died or someone, it's rarely that. But you can learn that next time you're going to, instead of saving the bucks and going with some big box store, you're going to go to a more specialized store where you can work with the owner, and you know what I mean? It's like you're going to gain some sort of wisdom. I do think it's a little more profound than that, but I was just trying to give you an example of the situation that could be prompting it. It could very well be a friendship that's really has been going downhill for years, and it could have finally gotten to the point where it's like maybe you're the type of person that always helps, and you really needed someone this time, and it finally occurred to you that this friend just isn't really there for me. When it comes right down to it, she or he is not there for me, and I'm done. And it's really sad because I've put a lot of time and energy and love into this relationship, and I realize it's all one-sided, and it's done. I just can't keep giving and giving. This Queen of Cups, she gives and gives and gives, and so you're gonna call up your Queen of Swords, whether you're a guy or a girl, and say, I'm cutting this person out, or I'm cutting off, I'm not giving anymore. If he or she wants to step up, great, but I'm tapped out. I can't keep giving without receiving something. I'm done with that. So she just her thoughts, like this 10 of Swords, I'm not beating myself up anymore for something that I can't control. I'm cutting this situation out of my life, or I'm not worrying about it anymore. I'm not taking on the burden to try to make it right. It is what it is. We can agree to disagree, whatever, but I'm out. I'm done with it. I need to move on and not worry about it. And then you have those two queens kind of coming to terms internally, and that's like, I'm going to be the leader of my own life. I'm going to make, so if you have any decisions to make this month, when you see the Emperor, you have to think about the Emperor. He's sort of embodies all the kings, and that's why he's so able to lead, because he can relate and thinks about all the qualities of all the kings. But he has to make decisions, and when he makes decisions, a good leader, the good emperor, he tries to make the decision that's the best for everyone. But you're never going to be able to please everyone. It's impossible. So in your life, you need to make decisions that are based, that you can live with. You cannot please everyone. And you ultimately are the one that has to live with the decision that you make for your own life. I mean, this happens a lot, especially when you're younger, but if you have a toxic family that's, even if you're an adult, that's always telling you what to do and expecting you to do it, and if they don't, they cut you out. And trust me, I've seen it with people, not my family, thank God, but it's like, you know what, I'm an adult and I have to live with my decisions and my actions, and at some point you have to stop living for other people and other expectations, or expectations that you've just carried along from childhood even, and become the leader in your own life, because you are the one ultimately that has to live with your actions and your decisions, regardless of what anyone else says. So you better make sure that even if the decision, you can't please everyone, but you sure have to make sure it feels good to you, right? So we have some double Aries energy, because he's Aries, the Emperor, and then we have the King of Wands. So really, it's like, it's sort of something stirred you up to really motivate you to deal with something this month and to sort of get your mojo back and get on track and about things you're passionate about and energized about. And again, we do have this message, this synchronicity, this sign coming in. And so he's a leader that leads by motivating and enthusiasm and keeping people excited long after the initial everyone's excited at the beginning of something, but he's able to keep the honeymoon period going, the excitement going, and whatever it is. So then you have a work card. It's kind of a lot of different energies going on. It's like it could be a work situation that you're going to leave. But you do have the Three of Pentacles, which is a super hardworking card. So it's after that King of Wands. So it's kind of like you're cutting out some emotional things over here and getting to work on something, on sort of moving on. That's what it is. You're getting to work on moving on from whatever that situation is. And you're throwing yourself into it and you're excited about it. And you're once you've really sort of gotten past the stages of grief and are letting go of that, it's like you're really excited to get to work on moving on with your life with this new enthusiasm, because you're actually going to feel really good after you kind of process everything, because it's going to be like, good for me. I did that. I dealt with that. And that was hard. And I may not have it may not have felt really great, because it doesn't feel good to sort of have to cut things out of your life or sort of cut things off in quotes, so that it's like putting up boundaries. But you know what? It's like, oh my God, it's like you feel free and you're excited and you have time and energy to put into new things, or things that you haven't been able to put enough energy into because you've been so exhausted and preoccupied with this one situation. It's amazing how even the smallest negative situations can contaminate the other parts of your life. The Death card, which is like, it's like transformation. You're never going to live quite the same anymore, because I think you've gained so much confidence from finally dealing with this situation on your terms. For some of you, I think you've been sort of living your life for other people in a way, and it's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't live my life for someone else. It's too stressful. And you're communicating, or someone's communicating, and you're speaking your truth. You're speaking your truth, and other people may not be happy about it, especially if they've been particularly controlling, but you're transformed. You're free. And it's going to be an amazing feeling. Like, I feel like you're going to be that crow, that bird soaring, and you're an air sign. So it's like you're going to be free. You're not nailed down to the ground anymore. You're going to be able to soar like these wands and those birds. Like, you're just going to take off, living your life in a new, freer, better way. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this is an absolutely transformational month for you, and I'll see you at the next reading. Take care.